True.
Regardless of which side of the coin you would politically flip on, regardless of what ideology you believe, because there used to be professionalism once upon a time.
I don't know if you've talked about it with him. I know, I believe you have with Chuck. I know we talked about it, you know, and how, you know, the relationship with Danny O'Neill and how, yes, they were differing politically, right? But none of that shit mattered because it wasn't about them.
Yes. It was about the character.
Yes, it was specifically about the character. And like Chuck would say, like, when you're reading this stuff, I don't want you to even think about me, right? That's not the point. It's like he wants to understand the character. They have a voice, and he makes sure that he writes in that style, right? That's the point. I feel honestly, this whole that shit's lost. Right, because we see a lot of this in example with comics. The reason, and look, I don't say this shit. I know she tried that little bastard tried to get my my channel taken down. What's her name? Fucking T. Franklin, right? But the reason, yeah. But the reason why I always refer to her because she's a prime example of everything it is that we're talking about. Yeah. So it's not about these characters. It's about, okay, you know, she's gay. She's
so everything she writes is gay.
Everything she writes is gay. Everything she writes is gay, and everything has to be about that. So even with the character like a Vixen, right? Like, I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was in the Harley Quinn book that she was writing, and she had almost like predatory where Vixen is hitting on some gay disabled chick in a limousine.
That's weird. Who just happens to be gay and disabled?
Yeah, who just happens to be gay?
Any ideas?
Any idea? Oh, ideas? You start to peel stuff back. Oh, it's the freaking writer, right? Like it's unbelievable, right? And you know, she had was that like some gay ass 3-way kiss that between like Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, I think was in it, and some other, I don't know who, I can't remember who the third wheel was. You know, she's tweeting like, "Hey, I gotta be the first person to put a 3-way lesbian." I'm like, what the fuck does? You're writing comics, bro. Like, why? What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like,
she's not writing a comic. She's writing a sexual fantasy where she's part of the plot. She's part of it. If I say to Chuck, if I'm running DC, right, and I'm looking for a writer for Superman, and let's just say it can't get hold of Dan Jurgens, can't get hold of certain people. And I say, Chuck, call up Chuck Dixon. Chuck, I know you work for yourself. I know you don't want to come for a pay cut. I ain't going to do that. I'm going to pay you properly. Can you come over here and write Superman for me? And Chuck says, go on, then. I'll do a run for you. I know that Chuck's going to write Superman. I know that Chuck's going to be like, how does Clark act? How does Superman act? What stories can I put them in? How can I make this interesting, fun, blah? I don't have to even have a concern about Chuck. I know that Chuck's going to write Superman. I call up Chuck. Chuck, can you do Superman? Chuck says, sorry, I can't do Superman. Oh, okay. I was, all right. Cheers, buddy. I'll try and find someone else. Put the phone down. Mags, are you free to do Superman? Can you get on my desk a synopsis of where you want to go with the character? Okay, cheers. Thanks, Max. No, I'm not going to give you money. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm going to fuck off. And then you get a piece of paper that comes on your desk and you go, okay, Clark's now trans, and Lois is gay, and Jonathan Kent's now.
That's like you just describe what is again, I think it's the difference in the attitude from previous creatives versus what we have now. Where we have a bunch of activists masquerading as creators. Like activism is what they lead with. That's first and foremost for them, and everything has to be about fucking them. everything. And it has got to be fucking as on the nose as it's not even like, again, they're not writing good characters. They're not writing interesting stories or and putting people in interesting universes to get lost in. It has nothing to do with what it is they're doing. Everything is, how can I get a pat on the back from my peer, be it social views, being what we lead with, or if it's something and maybe in the political realm. And that's the starting point. Like, that is what they're trying to accomplish. If there is to be a motivation, that's what it is that they have. Everything else that happens is secondary, because it all has to lead up with that or lead with that. That's what it has to do. So every decision that has to get made needs to be with that in mind. And that's what makes for these, I mean, just fucking terrible narratives. And it's so blatantly obvious to where it's like, you can read a story and I know exactly who wrote it. Alpha Core #1's pre-order is live. Written by the legendary Chuck Dixon and penciled by Joe Bennett. Visit Rippaverse.com to grab a copy and any of the merchandise items. Be sure to also check out the animated trailer for the campaign, which is the latest project from Rippaverse Studios. Y'all be easy.